Welcome everyone. I am here to talk about Resident Evil 2, the board game. This is going to be a brief introduction to exactly what you get when you purchase the retail versions of this game. This is the non-Kickstarter stuff. This is all the retail stuff, bought retail, and here's what's in each of the boxes. So we're going to go one by one, step by step. First, we have Resident Evil 2, the board game, the core box. Now, once you open up the box, first thing you see, this game, this whole thing here, just like the video game, very cute. Let's get this out of the way. We have the rule book, nice, normal, hefty, kind of thick rule book. Then we have the scenario book, which is going to be all of our missions. This is actually very cool, follows the games pretty well, but it's kind of a basic scenario book. There's a bunch of them, but it's not the whole thing. Then we have the tiles. A lot of people complain that the tiles are too dark. I kind of tend to agree. They are a bit dark. And there's a big old stack of them. So just so you can see, a whole bunch of the tiles. Then we have cards, dice, and minis. So, this was one of the tiles. So, for the minis, we have Tyrant. Lots of really, really great, really well-made minis. Here's Ada and Claire over here. And we've got Leon and Marvin Branagh over here. Not a lot of variety in the zombie sculpts. They're all pretty much the same. 4 zombie dogs. Those are all different. Very cool. And then you have one deck of regular-sized cards here. And then a deck of equipment-sized ant cards. Some very nice-looking dice. And that is the core box in a nutshell. And give me just a moment and we'll do the next one. Now the next one we're going to look at here is the B-Files expansion. So when you go in here, it has its own rule booklet and its own set of tiles and markers and stuff, still pretty dark, and its own set of minis. Also 2 decks of cards, equipment cards, character cards, whatnot. So you have 2 lickers down there. You got a Tyrant. And then you've got Mr. X, as you can see here. And then the rest is zombies. And it's really only 2 sculpts and a bunch of the different kinds. Very cool, though, actually. But that's it for the survival horror box. Pretty light, actually. I'm sorry, not survival horror. The B-Files expansion. Survival horror is next. This one looks to be a much more substantial upgrade. This is the survival horror expansion. And inside here, once again, another booklet. No tiles this time, but we do have more humans, more heroes. First of all, also the monsters. We have 2 of these cool-looking plant creatures, 2 spiders. We have Sherry Birkin, and then you have the mayor, Brian, bunch of other characters. Zombie Brad Vickers and zombie Marvin Branagh, and then you have regular Brad and regular Marvin, if you see them in there. And then you have William Birkin as a human. And that's about it. So a little bit more substantial character-wise, but no tiles. And now give me just a moment. So now we have the Malformations of G expansion. 2 separate smaller boxed affairs here. Let's go ahead and look at the first one. The first one, once again, you got a booklet. And then there is a single tile, which looks like a boss room kind of deal. And then there's one big old mini, really big mini, and then there's William Birkin. I believe that's phase 2 and phase 3, and then there's some equipment. Yeah, stage 2 and stage 3, and some more cards. So kind of a smaller box deal. That is the Malformations of G core game expansion, but then the Malformations of G B-Files expansion over here is the big boy. First you have Stage 3, and then Stage 4. And I'm actually going to take Stage 4 out, because it is really impressive. Give me 1 second here. So this is the main William Birkin Phase 4 mini, and it is just a beast. It is really huge, really cool looking, really detailed. Probably going to be a monster to paint. And that's about it. So that sums up these 2, Malformations of G, the 2 different expansions, which are basically just William Birkin's transformations. And give me 1 second and we'll do the last one here, the 4th Survivor. And last but not least, we have the 4th Survivor expansion, which just pretty much only brings 2 new characters. That's really all it does. If you're familiar with the games, you know about Hunk and Tofu already. They have their own entire rule booklet with scenarios and everything. They have tiles, which is remarkable to me. And then here we go. Here's their own stuff. And then if you get in there, there's Hunk and there's Tofu. Very cool. Very nice looking minis, too. And that about does it. That's pretty much this one. It's kind of a much smaller expansion. It's usually much cheaper as well. Just 2 minis, some tiles, and the decks. And that's about it. That is Resident Evil the board game. For anybody who is interested in purchasing it, this is what you get. If you get the box, you get any of the expansions. This is it. This is Resident Evil Retail, no Kickstarter, which means no scenery, no terrain, none of that stuff, which is kind of what I was expecting in the main box, but whatever. This is still very cool. Anyway, I'd like to thank you for watching. I hope this helps. Have a great night.